Okay, thank you so much. Hi, my name is Michaela. I work as a senior UX researcher at Make. And today I will talk about how to have more fun for research and how to have time for having fun is actually through automation. So I will talk about how to automate several research processes so you can focus your time on something that you enjoy more. Okay. So a little bit about me. I've been doing research for almost 13 years. I started as a market researcher, but in 2016, I moved to Silicon Valley in California, and I transitioned into UX research. And 2 years ago, I came back to the Czech Republic, and I started working at Make. And I'll talk about how I use Make to automate a lot of research processes, but my goal is not to pitch Make to you, and I don't want to sell it to you, and I don't want to teach you how to use Make. My goal is to show you how to and inspire you and to really make you start thinking about how to automate repetitive tasks so you have more time for things that matter to you as a researcher. And so because I'm talking about Make, I'll just show you what it is, because I will demonstrate a lot of processes that I automated through Make. So Make is a visual automation platform that allows you to connect apps that you use at work or for fun without the need to be a developer. So you don't need to know coding, and you can still create your own integrations and automations. And it's very cool because you can streamline a lot of work processes, and you can really automate a lot of repetitive tasks. And you can be from research operations, you can be a researcher, you can be from the marketing. It really gives you more time back. Okay, let's go back. Okay. And thank you. Okay. So you may still wondering, okay, but why should I automate things? So if you say yes to any of these stickies, or you've experienced anything from what I post, any of these situations, then you probably represent a very good use case for starting to automating tasks. So maybe you are a researcher or a designer who is doing research, but you also need to do recruiting, and you don't have enough time to spend on analysis because you have to do all these ops. Or you have another team, for example, the marketing team, who can help you with recruiting, or you have research ops, but you are in the pipeline. You are not the only one. You are not the priority, so you have to plan ahead. So you lose the flexibility and the lean approach to research. Or maybe you are the only researcher at a company, and the company doesn't have a budget to hire someone to do research ops, and it's everything on you. You have to do everything. Or you are having tools that have integrated automations, but they are not exactly what you needed to generic, and you need to have something customized, and you want to customize and create your own automations, but you are not a developer. You just don't know how to do it. And so this is when me and my wonderful colleague Tomáš, who is not here today, but we actually teamed up together, and we started to think about me specifically, because I am a solo UX researcher at Make, and I do everything, and I collaborate with 5 or 6 designers. I cover all product teams, and I also collaborate cross-functionally with the growth team and the business intelligence team and the customer success team, and we all do they all want research. So I really needed to think about where I can save my time on research ops, so I can handle all of it and I can have fun with it and not to burn out. And so this is what we came up with. And really real shout out to Tomáš, because I wouldn't be able to show you what I want to show you today. So this is what we automated. This graph represents the whole research process that you go through. And I automate gathering requests from PMs, announcing kickoff meeting, recruiting participants, and setting incentives. This is all what I've done before. I'm not doing it anymore. Make does it for me. And I can focus on what I really love and when I bring the most value to the company, which is data analysis and synthesis, very understanding what the insight is, and really focusing on storytelling and evangelizing what users need across the company. And the good thing is that I don't need any specific tools for that, for these automations. I can use very general tools that all of us have access to, such as Google Suite, Gmail, and Slack. And I will show you 4 automations. And in these automations, I'm using only these tools and apps. So the first automation that I will show you helps me to collect research requests from RPMs and other departments. And when I collect this request, it automatically translates the information that the PM leaves for me into a research plan. And then Make notifies me that I got this research request and I should review it and decide if I want to do it or not. And this is how it looks like in action. So we have this wonderful page in Confluence. When a PM can come, he clicks on the link. It takes him to a Google form where he will fill in the information that I need to understand what he wants. I'm pretending in this demo that I am a PM. So the PM fills in the information. Also, who is the target audience? And what's the deadline? So when he needs to get the research done, which is also important for me and my planning. And then he submits the request. And this is not a part of Make automation. This is actually an integrated automation that's a part of Google Forms, Google's Forms. So this is what Google automatically creates. But after I have all this information here, I still don't know about it. But this is where Make comes in, because this automation watches if there is a new request in the Google Sheet, and if there is a new request, and it actually runs the automation every day at 8. It checks it out. Then he pulls out the information that the PM left in the form and paste it into a research plan template, and then lets me know. So this module actually, I'm telling Make which Google Sheet he needs to look for, what kind of information that the PM left in the form needs to take, and paste into Google Documents. So I have my research plan ready. And then this is the message that it sends me. And this is how it looks from my end. So at 8 a.m. in the morning, when it sees there is a new request, it creates this research plan lets me know. And so I have this link. I can go to a drive and review the request. And I already have all the important information before I will meet the PM, so we can discuss it. Already have some basic information I can work with. Okay, so the second automation that I am using is right after that. So when I like what I see, and I think this is a good idea and it's in line with the roadmap or the strategy for the year, and the request makes sense, I approve it. And so this automation, what it does is that it sends a message to the stakeholder who requested the research from me that I approved it. And it sends a Slack message to him. And also it creates a record in the Google spreadsheet that I approved it. And I inform the stakeholder that it's been approved and we will do it together. So it's documented. And this is how it looks like. Okay, so I'm going through the research plan. I review the information that the PM left for me. And I decide to approve it. And this is the trigger that says make, okay, every day at 9 in the morning, it goes through it. And if there is a research request that's approved, he goes to a drive and he finds out the research plan that I approved. And from that information, and the information who was the stakeholder who created the request, he creates a Slack message and sends it to the stakeholder. And creates a record in the Google Forms that I approved it and I notified the stakeholder. So I have to do anything. I have more time. And this is how it looks like. Okay, so it just takes a couple of seconds to run the automation. And I have the record here. And this is how it looks like. So let's pretend that this is a PM who sent me the request. Boom. And he also sees the research plan and he can edit it. But this is the first step to have a kickoff meeting. And I really started to appreciate it when more and more PMs started to request research. So I actually, I had a battle plan. I was more in control because I could see it, especially before quarterly planning. Okay, next slide. So let's say that we approved the research plan. We will do the study. Now we have the research plan. We know the questions. We know the method. I need to start recruiting the participants. So this is when I again use Make, and I have a very simple scenario for it. So we have a lot of users, and so I can create a list of participants from our pool of users based on specific criteria that I need, and I download it in the form that I can upload to Google Sheets. So when it's there, I have this automation. So in this automation, Make is looking for participants that I want to contact, and I want to invite them to a study. And it can be 200 per day, because these are free users who, excuse me. And because there is low response rate, I need to ask a lot of people. I can't imagine doing it manually. And so in this scenario, Make knows which participants it should send the email to, and it also updates the cell that I already sent the email to these participants, so I don't bother them again, and everything is automated. So this is how it looks like. So I use Art Designers as an example. So let's say that I have this list, and the only thing I need to tell Make is contact these people. In the column H, I put the note to contact, and this is everything that he needs to know. And this, this automation is not scheduled. It only runs when I say it to run, because I don't know. There are days when it's better to recruit than others. So I decide. So I hit the run once manually, and I trigger the automation. And so this is how it looks inside. Make is looking for people that I assigned to contact next to their email addresses. There's a condition these people haven't been contacted before. This is the message that I sent to them. It's in HTML because I wanted to keep my picture in it, but you can actually write it in a simple text. And then it updates the cell and tells me which participants have been contacted. So this is how it looks like when it runs. This is what I see on my end. Contact, email sent, email sent, email sent, email sent, email sent. And if you are if you are a user, this is how it looks on your end. So you go to your email address, you open your email, and you have this invite. And I'm using Google Calendar with the capability to book a slot. This is not a part of Make automation anymore. And the last thing that I want to share with you is sending incentives. So this is also what I'm automating. So I have more time for data analysis and synthesis. And I'm using the same scenario, but it's more dynamic and customized inside. And so again, I'm using only 2 tools. And this is how it looks like. So this is the list of participants that I invited to a study. I contacted them. They came to the study. I interviewed them. They were wonderful. It's done. The study is done. And now I want to send them an incentive, which can be, for example, a coupon with extra operations, so they can use it for their Make scenarios for free. But I want to, because I met these people, I want to make it more personalized. So what I do in this scenario is that each email that I send to a specific user will call the participant with the first name and will assign the specific incentive that I want to send them. And the only thing that I need to do is just to tell Make which participants he needs to send the email to. And I just chose to write yes here. I'll also run it when I need to, so it's not scheduled. Yeah, and so Make is looking in that list for people that have in the column yes, D assigned yes. They haven't received any incentive yet. This is the email that I'm sending to them. The name is dynamic, and the coupon is also dynamic, so it changes with each participant. And I can see that I sent the incentive. Yeah, and this is how it looks like on my end. Within seconds, I have a whole bunch of people that I send the incentive to. And if you are a participant, this is what you see on your end. You open an email. You see that I call you by your name and that you received a specific incentive assigned to you. Okay, and this is it. And I do it by myself, everything. So I have more time for what I love. And sorry. Okay, and this is actually my message. I'm done with the presentation. This was it, just to inspire you. Don't be afraid. Try to automate things that are repetitive. So you as researchers, as designers who do research, as PMs, it can be also relevant to your work. Even if you are research ops, you can also automate so many things. So you don't have to do it manually. Yes, yeah. So we can focus your time on mental energy on discovering insights. If you are a researcher or a designer, you can create more value to the company. You have more time for that. You can get users excited, and this brings you joy. You bring the value to the company, and you're happy. And you can become UX superheroes, because this is where actually your value is. But you need time for that, because being a UX professional who really, really brings value takes time. So automate. And if you have any questions regarding ideas what to automate, what you could automate, let me and Tomáš know. Also, if you want to just chat about anything related to UX research or UX design, get in touch with us. We're here to help you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this inspirational presentation. Do we have questions? Or everything was clear?
Did I scare
So
you?
well explained. Okay, we do have questions. Before we get to the Q&A session, I want to remind that the 3 best questions are getting rewarded today. So I'd like to ask our speakers to think about their favorite question that they received during their Q&A, and Michaela as well.
Thanks a lot for this presentation. Wow, like you did a really good job. Like I was, oh, this could work and by us as well. And I'm wondering with the recruiting of participants. So you have panel. You are like
the tool is called Mixpanel.
Okay.
And we store all information about users who sign up to our product here. So we have their email addresses, and the name of the organization, which is actually an account they created in Make. We see what kind of plan they are on, and we see what kind of automations they are creating. So we can, and we have a lot of more information about them. And this helps me to set up the criteria that are the best to find the right people for the usability study or a discovery research, or just the topic that we need to discuss with them, because they are a good fit. So for example, I was using here an example of people who are freemium users. We wanted to actually understand what would motivate people who are on the free plan to upgrade. So I was recruiting recruiting 2 types of people. A group were users who were still on the free plan for some time and haven't upgraded yet. So actually what demotivates them, why they are happy with the free plan and they are using actively Make. And the second group were people who actually upgraded recently. So what motivated them as well. I could recruit them through the Mixpanel, but I used the automation for it because I had to really send a lot of invites and just can't imagine doing manually.
Yeah, great. So you have enough information
Yes.
that you can precisely focus on the group you
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you store it from, so we have a couple of ways how to do it. So first, how they use Make. So we have analytics in the product. And also we have an onboarding survey. So when they sign up, we have a couple of questions we ask them.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Okay, more questions, but there's the first hand.
Hey, thanks for your talk. I just wanted to ask if talking with PMs is really something you want to avoid when you automate, and if you do, how do you handle this? Because, or let's say it differently, isn't this counterproductive? Because I guess you still need to discuss with them if they put information which is just not realistic, let's say deadlines and prioritization. How do you prioritize stuff like this. Thank you.
Yeah. So maybe I created a false impression. I love PMs and I love talking to them, and it's really important to understand the problem that they have and so on. But because I am the only one researcher, and they need me in the kitchen and they want this, and so it's just it's difficult to keep up with all the demands. I decided that I will have more control over it, and I will teach them that is like something like quarterly planning, also for research. So the goal is not to avoid talking to PMs. The goal is to collect requests in one place and to review it and plan for the research that is really important and it's a priority. So I do speak with each of them about their research, but I need to understand, is it a priority or not? But I need to start somewhere, and I need to plan a little bit ahead because I'm the only researcher. So I need actually some process to it, and this is how I used to make.
Okay, answered. Yes, I see you, but I saw some hands here as well. There. Okay, let me just proceed. Where?
Over there.
Thank you very much. My name is Juan, and I just wanted to ask you about how to mitigate risk when doing automations. You cover a lot of, basically most of the life cycle of from the beginning of the UX research to the end. And for example, when you're doing research and you're cooperating with an external outsource company, organization, software, etc., how do you mitigate the risk that something could go wrong and that information that you wanted to give is actually wrong?
I'm not sure if I understand the question. So, in these automations, I try not to release any confidential data. It's really a generic information. Hey, we want to redesign a navigation. Are you interested in giving us feedback? So I specify what kind of research it is, but I don't give away any details. Maybe you can explain a little bit what you meant by the risk. Like if the automation crashes, what I do if I have a backup plan, or what do you mean by that?
Say, for example, you mentioned in your presentation as well that you're speaking with the participants, for example.
Mm-hmm.
What if the automation doesn't work, or you misplace some value and you send an invalid name or a different name to 1,000 of your participants?
I test it. Before I use any kind of automation, I test it on with the designers. They are my testing group. I test it on myself multiple times. So I make sure that what I release, it doesn't bug up. So it's really what I want to use. But of course, like sometimes there are glitches, technical glitches. So fortunately, I work at Make, so there is always some engineer who helps me. But answer to your question is testing it before using any kind of information multiple times. So we're sure that it works.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move to the right side.
Thank you, Lucy. Hi. I'm a user researcher as well, and in your presentation, we could see that you automate the steps before you actually do analysis and sharing with stakeholders and next steps. I was thinking, did you think about also other things that you can automate when it comes, and maybe what do you plan to automate next?
I love this question. Thank you so much. So before I joined Make, I didn't automate anything. And when I joined Make, we have each company has this set of values. So one of the value is drink your own champagne, which means like me as an employee from Make, I should use automations in my role. and I couldn't come up with anything at the beginning. I was like, there is nothing so repetitive, so I need automation, or there is nothing, or maybe this is too complex and I don't want to spend time. I don't want to learn automations. But once you start doing it, you have more and more use cases, and it's not so difficult to come up with it, and you also more versed and comfortable with using automations. And it's also a lot about experimenting, getting closer to our users, because I experience their pains with the bugs and everything in my own automations, so I can feel them much better. But I think the answer to your question is you have to start doing it, and I think recruiting is a good start. I started actually with recruiting because we have a lot, the response rate can be low, so you have to ask a lot of people. We don't have an research ops team. I recently discovered that the marketing team can help me, but I am not a priority, and I need to keep up with the deadlines, right? So I started with it, and it really saved hours a week on recruiting. It was amazing. And then you have, okay, so incentives, this is the natural next step. And then with Tomáš, we were actually thinking more about the complex research process. So how about requests? And then approval. Yeah, I love it because, I have to approve it. But the next steps, I don't know. I have nothing in my mind right now. I would love to hear your ideas. Would you actually find very repetitive, or maybe you want to automate because it's exhausting and you just burn your mental energy and you don't have time on anything else? That would be wonderful. I know it can be hard for designers because designers have very creative work. So what you can automate, and Figma has a lot of automations integrated in the tool already, right? So I think this is for a discussion. So I think I'm okay for now. We will test it how it goes, but it's definitely not my last automation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So the question on the left side remains, or was answered?
I just wanted to ask, out of curiosity, why you don't try even to automatize the analysis? That because you want to achieve hands-on?
Yeah.
Or it's mitigating risk, or if there's a particular reason why you're doing those two?
Well, yeah, I believe, so I love analyzing data. I believe that it takes time to become a senior UX researcher. You also have to spend some time with the company to understand the problems, the users, the ecosystem inside. And I don't want to automate it yet because I really love it. I needed to automate everything around it, so I had more time to focus what I really can do well, and I can even do better. So this was my motivation. There could be some examples what to automate. For example, in quantitative analysis, to code the open-ended responses. Maybe that could be another next step to do. But I haven't thought about it yet. I think I keep the analysis, synthesis, and storytelling for me.
Okay, thank you. We had one question here, right? Two last questions perhaps, and we'll keep the rest for the later on networking. Here, and then Anna, you wanted to ask me.
Hi, I'm Tomáš, product manager in Lentiamo. I just want to ask you, how much of the make potential did we see in your presentation, and what plan do we need to achieve this kind of tasks?
Make potential. So currently Make supports 1600 apps, 1600 apps. So you've seen nothing basically. There's a lot that you can automate. And how much does it take? So it's honest to say that you should have some nudge for logical thinking to understand how to break down the process into steps and what exactly you want to automate. So you saw bubbles. It looks awesome that you can connect it together. this is visual coding, but still you need to understand your use case and what, where to go, what cells to choose, for example, and what's the next step. But once you get it, I think the best way to learn is to experiment. And yes, and it also takes some time. So the learning curve is a little bit, it's like it takes a little bit longer, but then it goes like with each other automation, it's much more easier. But it's also easier for you if it's not a theoretical case. It's very relevant to your work, to your use case, and really it brings you some value, time back, anything that you can imagine. So I think with some, you don't have to be a developer, not at all, but having some knowledge and nudge for logical thinking it's necessary.
Thank you. And the last question.
Thank you for the presentation, some inspiration, of course. But I wanted to ask you some off-topic, not automations, because you shared example of the incentives that you propose to respondents. So I wanted to ask you if you experimented with different incentives, because it's also like part of recruitment and probably a hard part also for not only us. Codes, money, nothing. What did you experiment with, and what works for you?
Yeah. So we typically we give free operations because we typically recruit active users. So we give them extra operations, and operation is something that you use in automations, so you can run them. So we give thousands of extra operations so people can actually use them and experiment with make more. But actually, I just started a research about churners as well. So why some people actually churn, and so operations make no sense for them, right? They are not using make anymore. So we are giving them Amazon coupons, of a certain value. And because we have churners all around the world, it's in the currency from the country. So this is the second alternative. We have users who want nothing. They just want to do it for free. And it really makes them happy that they can shape the product with us. So this is the third group, but this is it for now. And they can also participate in the community. They can join us when we have kickoff meetings. I mean, like really like big events. So they can be speakers and they can share their stories. So there are a lot of like other incentives, like creating visibility for their business with the marketing team. This can be also an incentive for them.
Thank you so much.